Hey, how's it going, everybody? I wanted to make another video. I don't even know what this channel is about anymore. I'm making videos for things, Marvel Champions, then I'm making stuff for role-playing games. Either way, I wanted to make a video. We were talking about this on Discord, actually, about in solo role-playing anyway, of this deck here. It's called the GameMaster's Apprentice deck. This is the fantasy version, but somebody was talking about it using it in conjunction with Ironsworn, and I've actually been doing this for quite a while. So I thought I would make a quick video. My intent here is for it to be quick. I know solo plays can go a little bit long, so I don't want to draw this out too much. I'll do my best to edit out the thinking, like when you have to ask an oracle or when you have to come up or connect moves and stuff, and. We'll jump right into it. I have nothing. I've got no character, nothing. The whole idea of this is just to be, I don't normally make a character this way, but I just wanted to show that it's one of the really cool ways of making a character. If you ever want to do like a quick one shot or something, if you're at lunch, at work, or something like that. So anyway, I've got load start here for my move reference. Not that that really matters. I don't think I'll be showing that too much here. I have my delve rules because we're going to be doing a delve. That's probably one of my favorite things to do. Just some little notes here that we can do some progress tracking, as well as a quick character sheet. As for the assets, I'm going to just make up an asset on the fly that's most likely going to be combat oriented, and it'll only be one little perk that you get with that asset. We're not leveling up. This isn't a campaign. Again, it's just to show how Ironsworn and this deck here kind of gel. At least they have been for me. It's been great. I love a lot of the oracles and stuff that come with Ironsworn. Like I said, Ironsworn's like probably my favorite RPG. Actually, you know what? Let me show you this really quick. I didn't think I was going to bring this up, but it's actually just off to the side. This is one of the things I've been normally playing with. I think a lot of people, they'll have their own oracle system. And I've printed out, I know I'm really zoomed in here, but these are generally the tables that I use. It's a lot of Mythic. This is all Ironsworn stuff that I've merged down just to fit into this little, I'll call it like a little duotang kind of binder. This is a whole bunch of names from Xanathar's Guide. And then we got some old random name generator stuff over here. And then I've also got like, Une mixed in here. And then this is where it starts getting a little off the rails. Une, I think there was another one. I forget which Oracle system this is. This is for Cipher system. And then we got just one quick one of Scarlet Heroes. And then this one's the Chaos emulator for, like none of this really matters, but the whole point I wanted to bring this up is that what I just showed you is usually what I use when I'm playing role playing. But what I've been finding is the more I try to rely on decks, the faster it goes. And the main reason I want to be keeping my speed up personally is I don't like bogging down. Like, I'm not a journaler. I know there's a lot of RPG players out there that like to, I don't even want to say write a novel because you're not writing a novel, but like if I'm typing or writing more than playing, that's not what I want to be doing personally. I just want to be playing a game. So flipping cards is a lot faster for me than rolling dice, and rolling dice really isn't like a big deal, right? However, sometimes it can be. Like you just saw that little tome I brought out that I personally use for like almost all my RPGs, and the thing with that is things usually require multiple rolls, right, to define a description, and all that stuff. And I love tables, but when I'm trying to talk about speed, this stuff here has been huge. And I'll just show you real quickly. Like I don't want to give a whole rundown of this, but right here's our oracle, which we'll be using. Our dice up here, I'll also use that for as well. These little, hopefully it's coming into focus here. These little icons up here, man, I've been eating them up alive. They've been so good. Like I normally would just like sort of look at that and interpret it, but it's just been sometimes I don't even look at stuff like all here's like sensory stuff, which is really cool. The adjective, verb, noun stuff that's like from Mythic. I love doing that, but lately I just almost skip all that and just go with the icon and then just pick the descriptive word sometimes. It's got names and all that kind of stuff. So the first thing we're gonna do, like I said, we're looking at making a delve. Awful shuffling. And we're just going to pull two cards here, and we'll see where we are before we make our character here. So we are, all right. I was going to go with the catalyst there, but we're in a torture chamber, which is interesting. Torture chamber, rising fame. All right, so I'm just going to piece that together. That our character is going into some sort of area that's known to torture people. And he's basically trying to free those people to raise his fame so that he can become a more well-renowned hero, saving the day, as well as you know, probably getting some pretty good goodies from the town for that. All right, so in Ironsworn, you got 5 main stats. So I'm going to roll a d10 here, and whatever that is, that's going to be our primary stat there. So we got a 5. So I believe that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The third stat, which I believe, let me just crack this open here, is iron. That works out. Actually, so let's do this here. So iron, shadow, wits, edge, heart. It would be nice and sloppy. So we're going to put a 3 in iron. We'll draw another one for our number 2. This is a 4. So here, so we got heart. Next one, a 2. All right, so this guy, he's got, I don't know, obviously I'm getting the fighter vibe, or strong-willed guy. You know, his heart's in the right direction, which makes sense with where we're going with the torture chamber area. You know, okay, he's crafty, he's got some stuff, shadow wits. Okay, so like I said, what I imagine, I'm just going to keep this simple, right? So I'll say, you know, he's got that sword, sword mastery. Sword mastery, not Schward. The Schwartz with the Schward mastery. All right, so he's just going to get a +1 to hit, and he gets +1 momentum on a strong hit. Keep it nice and simple. Okay. All right, there we go. No extra damage, nothing like that. So I'm just going to put that up here. And like I said, we're just going to roll into a delve. I'm actually going to pause the video right now. I'm going to try to get 2 cards really quick. That'll help us with our delve. You know what? Actually, forget that. Let me get rid of this. Okay, I'm just going to put them to the side. Let's just totally use those cards. Okay, we'll come up with it that way. As a little side note, delve is like one of my favorite supplements. Like once I went delve, it's so hard to go to any other. You know, Perilous Wilds is amazing. I really do love that. But like these tables, guys, like it's so sick. Like I don't know, the whole delve mechanic with this, I almost wholeheartedly just rip this and put it into something else. Okay, so let's sort of just play this out. Everything, what I would tend to do here, guys, is I don't know if we'll do a full delve. We'll just do like a couple moves. We'll see how the story kind of goes. Ideally, I get a combat in there. You know, I don't know about you guys. I'm a fan of combat, so let's get some fun in there. So we don't even come up with a name. We got to come up with a name. All right. So our name will be Moria. You got to use Moria comes up. You got to come up. Let's just call him Morian. That way, it's a little different. I guess. All right. So Morian, let's kind of see what he's got here for belongings. Handy tools, light tool set, thieves picks. All right. So it's sort of, you know, I mean, like when you see the word thief, I mean, you know, we may as well go with it. Although his shadow is low, so maybe he's more of like a locksmith. You know, maybe he. And again, I haven't determined the world. I'm just trying to keep it super generic, but like maybe it's more like safes and stuff like that, breaking into locks. You know what I'm saying? I can't imagine in my head exactly what that is. I just imagine somebody with some big muscles being able to use some light tools and just being able to like crack open safes and stuff. I don't even know what that. We'll call him a safe monger. You know, that's his profession. That's one of the things he does. Again, maybe that's one of the things he was requested to come in here for, because there's people in torture chambers. So maybe it's locked and they need somebody with some big muscles to go in there and smash some stuff up. All right, so let's describe the scene, right? And I'll try to do this lightly. I don't want to, you know, I'm not trying to get you guys, you know, excited about anything of this game in particular. So let's just assume it's dusk. You know, we're trying to sneak in. I'm going to flip over a card to see. What do we see? Sharply pointed ears. All right. And I'm going to pull this. Look at the top right here. That's hilarious, actually. The icon looks like sharp, pointy ears, but they're bleeding. So what I'm going to suggest is, as we're coming up to this torture chamber area, and we'll pull a card or whatever to see kind of what it actually looks like the structure itself, but we're going to go grim. I'm already there. Like everything's prompted me for that. And maybe there's some elves being hung, or, you know, their ears are cut off, because it's like you know, you hate elves, and the one distinguishing feature for them is the ears, right? So maybe as Morian is approaching this place, the vibe that he gets in his gut, you know, it's not great. You got missing ears off elves. It's already giving you that, there's some bad dudes that are here. So let's try to like pull this card and let's sort of describe where we're like what this kind of place looks like here. So in this one we got flickering torchlight, which is good. And I see muscle up here, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and assume that it's a stronghold of some kind, going in with that strong shape there. Stronghold, flickering torchlight, so it's active. It's definitely active. And what do we like hear? Like what do we hear in the distance or whatever? Merchants hawking their wares. Okay, so up ahead, before we even get into this place, it sounds like merchants. So I'm gonna go ahead and just say slave traders, right? Like you hear them, they're like bickering back and forth with somebody about some sort of, I got the cream of the crop. Elves tonight, whatever. What are you gonna sell me them for? Like, how much you guys gonna pay and this and that? So I'm just going to ask the oracle here. Is there more than if my character is creeping up? Do I notice like how many guards do I see? Okay, do I see more than one? And I'll give that a 50-50 shot. So I got no with the extreme no. Interesting. So not only do I not see any guards, I imagine the door's just locked, like the door's closed, and it's actually two merchants yelling at each other. Maybe they're having like some sort of conflict about like who's, I'm here first. I'm selling my slaves first. This is getting into some wild stuff. I'm selling my slaves first. This back and forth sort of thing. So I think just to be able to delve, because that's where I want to go. I'm going to wait just to see if anything changes, if anything happens or anything like that. So I'll assume we'll just wait like, I'll say like a half an hour roughly. And do they leave? Well, that's the oracle. I'm going to say the odds are good just because I want to move the story along. It says yes. So they both leave. This tells me, again, I know I'm steering the story a little bit here, but it's sort of telling me that, these guys possibly had showed up at night. Maybe they showed up a little early. The slave doors don't open until 2 a.m. in the morning. That way, absolutely nobody sees them. So they leave, getting ready to go on their little merry way to come back later. Sorry, so Marion's gonna go up to the door, and he's going to do a. Now I don't know if there's actually a move that we could do here. Like I'll say a face danger to sort of crack open the door or whatever like that. I mean, I imagine the door is locked. I bet the merchants probably would have tried to get in there. However, it's funny. I'm sort of already talking about this. We already established that my guy can break into safes with his giant muscles. So what I'm wondering here is, I could see it obviously everything being a face danger where you're attempting something risky to like break a lock to get in. That makes a lot of noise. Secured advantage doesn't really make a whole lot of sense here. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to go ahead and face danger and see what we get here. Now, what I'm going to use here is I don't want to get caught. I'm not trying to be forceful necessarily, even though I got to use force. But stealth doesn't... Deception's not really in there. You know what? I'm going to go with iron because it is an aggressive action. It's forceful, that kind of stuff. But my intent is not to be loud. Does that make sense? Anyway, we'll see. So that means we're going to roll with +3, right? So the first roll we'll get here is on that's awesome. It's a 6. +3 is 9. Let's see what the challenge dice are. This one's a 6, and this one's a 7. Okay, so that's a strong hit. And on a strong hit, we take 1 momentum. Oh, let me put those over here. And we are successful. Okay, so actually, I don't have anything to track momentum. So here, I'm going to put momentum right there. That actually would be at 3 because we start at 2. So my character, he gets in there, puts whatever light tool that is into the spot, cracks it open. And as he does it, does he hear anything after he makes it? I know he's successful. He hears curious murmuring. Okay, so based off the roll, I'm going to go ahead and just assume that the door is open. No problems. It was a total clean opening, but he still hears people inside, right? So he slowly opens the door. And to me, this would be I'm going to start the depths here, okay? So what I'll do is I'll just put, I'm just going to say delve. I don't want to label everything too much. And again, this will be troublesome, which means we make 3 progress. Anytime we make progress. Again, I'm just trying to make this go quick. What do we got here? 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The boxes get nice and smaller as they go. I'll move that up so you guys can kind of have it on screen there. Let me move this over. Okay, so we're going to describe what the room's going to be in a second. I don't even care right now because I'm going in right with the depths. So I'm going to try to do with, let's see, it's stealth. It's the only thing that makes sense. I want to quietly go in there. I don't know what I'm going into. Stealth is not a great stat for our character here. So we roll it. Oh, nice. Another 6 plus 1. So 7 against a 1 and a 3. Okay, so that's another strong hit. It's very good. Strong hit, you delve deeper, mark progress, and find an opportunity. Okay, so we're going to mark our progress here. 1, 2, 3. And we find an opportunity. Okay, so I'm going to bring out this card here. Find an opportunity. When you encounter something helpful, so we still have to describe the situation. So actually, let's do that before we go a little bit further in here, because then we can actually find out what our opportunity is. Off the top of my head, I'm assuming that just means we get the jump on whoever's in there. You know, like I said, I'm trying to make sure we get into a fight here, but whatever. So right here, I'm just looking at the icon right away, and it's a cauldron. Okay, so that tells me quite a bit. And I might just read down here and sort of like take whatever, you know, whatever makes sense here. So I can hear frantic pounding. This is already starting to make me think of some sort of cultist ritual here. Some sort of carved symbol, movement in my pocket, doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And recently applied polish is what we smell. So what I'll take for that is, so this is some sort of, I don't even want to say a kitchen necessarily, because whatever this fortress is, I just got the vibes off that and that murmuring that we got before, that there's some sort of, maybe this place isn't run by bandits, you know, it is slaves, but the torture chamber kind of stuff leads me to think, and I don't know how much of the occult stuff you guys are into, if you guys listen to conspiracy stuff, but I remember listening to this one conspiracy theory of groups of people that when they abduct people or, you know, kidnap or whatever, I don't mean to get too far out here, but there's a lot of torture involved to get the adrenaline spiked in the system, and when they consume the blood, it's almost like you get to experience that adrenaline. Everything's painting that picture for me right now. So the slaves aren't necessarily just for like labor and torture. There's got to be a purpose for that, and I'm just going to ride with that it's this group of cultists are consuming people, elves in this case, to drink their blood once it's filled with adrenaline, to do whatever. Now, whether that means they're going to try to summon a god, I don't know if we'll go that far, but that's the assumption I got there. So how many do I see, right? Like, I want to just bring this back to Ironsworn, so it's not... This is the thing I find with solo RPG too, man. Like, you could pretty much play every game just with oracle questions, yes and no. And sometimes I'll find that, like, why aren't I just doing that? But then I realize, like, it's not really a game, right? You got to roll some dice, and I realize there's no dice on the table right now, but, you know, in this case, making a move sort of makes sense here. So what I'm trying to do is gather information. I'm trying to quickly see how populated this is, and I guess the worse the roll, like if I miss, we're talking like 6 cats here. You know what I mean? There's like 6 dudes doing their chanting and blah, blah, blah. If it's a strong hit, there's 2. And if it's somewhere in between, then, you know what I mean? It'll be somewhere between 3 and 5 kind of guys. So we are going to make a check with wits. Again, my guy is not very witty. So we got another 5. We're rolling really good here. So that's a 6 against a 5 and a 3. Man, we're getting really good rolls today. So strong hit, and the problem with strong hits in Ironsworn is, you know, nothing fun happens. It's just whatever you want to happen. Okay, so on a strong hit, we discover something specific, envision what we must do, and add 2 momentum. So we're going to go up to 5. So the strong hit said that there was 2. And what I'm going to assume is they're just in this zone, you know, like they're boom, 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 whatever's going on, you know, like they're smacking the cauldron, getting that like rhythmic bass kind of, and they're just murmuring, like it said before, just sort of like staring into that whatever's in that cauldron. You know, it's not good, and maybe staring up to the sky, you know, and they're sort of like dipping their hands in this liquid that's in there and spraying it in the sky, and it sort of like rains on them. So it's not good. You know, we're just going pure evil, right? And my guy, you know, there's probably a chance that not only is this guy trying to be good, but maybe there's like some connection with his village or town or something, right? Like he's got a personal stake in not just freeing people, but seeing them celebrate in this sort of ritual just pisses this guy off. Pisses Morian off big time. So Morian's not even going to like think about it here, okay? I'm just going to move this delve over here. We're going right into combat. Actually, before I do that, let's ask the Oracle: are they armed? Like, can I see weapons on them? You know, cultists always traditionally have that dagger, so I mean, I'll say it's 50-50. Let's see what they got. No, they're not armed. Even better for even odds. Perfect. All right, so I think what we'll do is we're just going to go over to our combat section here, and we're going to go enter the fray. So when we enter combat, set the rank of each of your foes. There's 2 people that are unarmed, so I'm going to say it's dangerous. I'm not going to go too much here. So cultists unarmed, and they are dangerous. Dangerous. And I'm just going to put 2 next to it. That's just a little way for me to remember. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. Okay. So we've got the dangerous guys there. Now I'm just going to envision my approach here, right? So the move basically states if I'm facing a guy against them, roll heart. I'm trying to ambush them. I think it's more of just a quick sprint, take the sword out, and we're just, going right for the torso kind of thing. Or, you got to go for the decapitation, right? Like, that's just the way you do it. All right, so we're going to roll on wits. Oh, sorry. If you are ambushed. I am not ambushed. I forgot that if you are part of the move. Moving into position against an unaware foe or striking without warning. Okay, so it's shadow. Okay, so we're rolling 1. Here we go. Now we're getting some low rolls. So 3 + 1, or 2 + 1 is 3 against a 1. All right, 1 and a 1. Hey, this is actually awesome. Okay, so not only do we do it, but what I like to do, in Ironsworn, a match basically makes it like the way I've understood it, and this is one of my problems that I've had with Ironsworn, and it's totally a misinterpretation, I'm assuming. Or this stuff's all hackable, right? Whenever I would roll a match in Ironsworn, what that tells me is like it's an extreme version of that, right? Because the Oracle system in Ironsworn is yes and no. And if I understand it correctly, whenever you get a match, it's like an extreme yes or no. So if you play Mythic, or if you've tried Mythic, it's that, or like what we drew earlier, where it's all capitals with a exclamation mark in this Oracle system. It's just like it's great, and you get a little something extra, so like in this case, I would imagine, like, if I was just going to run with this raw, it would be, okay, cool, so I go in there and I gut this dude, and his buddy's looking across as he's in this ritual fest, and he just sees this giant sword enter through this torso, and his friend's curdles the blood, and he notices Morian right behind him staring right at the other guy, and he just kicks the dude off the sword and decapitates the other guy. I would probably just clean this up as a quick, these guys are just lost in it. However, what I've been doing lately is, like, I really adore Mythic. So what I'm going to do is, whenever I get a match, when I play Ironsworn here lately, is let me get my headset's getting tangled here. Is I will grab. I like Mythic variations too. It's really fun. But to have this right here, I just basically cue that as a random event happens. Okay, so we're going to do that as well. I leave these cards here because you'll see how I tie this stuff together, or at least attempt to. Okay, so let's check out our standard event focus. So we're going to roll D100. So 80, 80 and a 10. So we're just going with a 90, I guess. So 90 gives us an NPC negative. Now, I don't really have any NPCs so far, outside of like the story I just said that would happen. Okay, so let's do this. Let's see if we can make a character here. Let's see if maybe, let me put it this way, because I already looked at it. What I'm trying to think of is like, well, is this what I just said? Is the NPC negatives would be literally what I just said, where it'd just be a one shot and both these guys get cleaned out? Or is there like an additional character here? Like maybe there's, somebody that was being tortured. Maybe there's, God forbid, somebody barely hanging on to life in this, what's it called? What is it? The cauldron. That's the word I was looking for. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to look at these cards. These are the ones that we already drew when this event happened, right? And I'll bring them up to you so you guys can see. I'm just trying to look at the pictures here. So this looks like some cavalry. All right. What do we got here? Looks like gates to me. And remember, it's all context. It doesn't have to necessarily be whatever. And this looks like a shop, like a little store. The first thing that comes to mind when I see this is So an NPC negative, what I'm getting from this, honestly, and I'm just going to roll with it because I think it's kind of fun, is there's some sort of force. Let's just say it's the nearby village that commissioned me or however I got this quest. They're sending literally the cavalry. So they're coming in with some sort of military force. Let's say, because I like to keep things small, I don't like doing big battles. Let's just say it's 10 guys, right? 10 guys come storming. I can hear them storming up from behind me. However, the gate, that's what I was saying here, the fence, or at least the way I'll look at that, is some sort of barrier, which would have been the door. So they come crashing up into this area, and the shop symbol, to me, I'm just, this might sound awful, but I'm tying the shop to this actual place because, merchants selling them. So maybe I can tie in the merchants. I mean, those are the other NPCs that we did, I guess, go into. So we could tie all that together, where maybe, the merchants, maybe this makes more sense. The cavalry or the guards along the way stumbled upon those merchants earlier, and they're like, show us where you're taking these slaves, or what are you doing with them? And, merchants, they're going to be all for themselves. They're not going to rat on themselves, but they'll definitely sell, at least in my assumption here, sell the other person out. So they bring the cavalry here. So I can hear them coming. Now, the negative part, actually, I was going to say, well, how is that all a bad thing? I'm just going to say the negative aspect to that is the fact that those merchants got caught. So that's that. And like I said, what I'm going to do, even though that was a strong hit on match, let's resolve the move. Man, this feels like playing Magic the Gathering where you got the stack with like different resolutions and stuff. So I forget what the last move was I did. I think it was just Enter the Fray. Is this all off of an Enter the Fray? I believe it was. So we're going to take 2 momentum. 5, so we're up to 7. Narratively makes sense. I know that there's like a stash of dudes coming up from behind me. So and they're on the side of justice, I hope. So that's probably going to help me. And I do think I'm still going to kill a guy. I still think that's part of the narration here. As I'm shanking this one guy, like the torso comes out, like I said, and as I lock eyes with the other cultist who's staring at me, that's when all that nonsense happens behind me. Okay, so we have initiative. Let me put that in the discard pile there. I have this little card that I made. It just helps me track initiative. You got initiative with a check mark and not initiative, and like what you can do when you have such things. So I just put that there to remind me that I have initiative. And I think right away what we're going to do is my guy's just going to strike at the other guy. I don't know what he's going to do. I'm going to get a reaction. I think the guy's just stunned at what's going on, the chaos. So we're going to go into the strike. So this is close range with iron. So we're going to get a +3. Now remember, we do have sword mastery. So it's +1 to hit, and then +1 momentum on a strong hit. So we're rolling with 4 and a 1, not great. So that's 5 against a 10. Here we go. 10 and a 10. Yo! All right, I think I'm going to end it after we resolve this, because when you're getting 2 matches, and anybody that's played Ironsworn, that's too sick. Anybody that's played Ironsworn knows once you get 2 10s, it's like, oh, it just got real. So maybe what I'll do is, I know I just said I do go to Mythic. I am a fan of Ironsworn, right? So I know Ironsworn has an oracle for like massive story plot stuff. But anyway, what I got on that was a miss, right? That would have just been a blowout. Yeah, a miss. My attack fails and I pay the price. Your foe has initiative. So I'm just going to flip this over. And again, I'm just going to try to resolve this up with as much of these cards as possible, so that I hope, anyway, even if you don't play Ironsworn, you can see how awesome these are. As a side note, I would also say if you play the Cypher system, especially solo, these things have been absolutely amazing. The creator of these cards, he's got a couple videos out that you can watch, or one that I know of that uses specifically the Cypher system, where he uses this challenge number over here. And as a solo player, that's really important. Okay, so major plot twist. Use this oracle to introduce something nasty. So let's just go ahead and do that. And I'm also going to roll on pay the price. I like to really hurt myself on negative or on 10s if nothing has really been happening in the game. If I was at like 1 health, 1 spirit, like my guy's barely hanging on, narratively it makes sense maybe to like pull back a bit. Don't go too crazy. But since this is an example, let's just theoretically blow this out of the water. So I'm going to keep these aside because, like I said, I like to use those icon prompts. So our major plot twist: we roll D100, double 0, and a 7. So a dark secret is revealed. Well, doesn't that make a whole lot of sense? So a dark secret is revealed. Well, what is the secret? because we haven't yet, let's do the adjective, noun, verb. I really don't use these a lot, but guide, underling. All right, and what's the middle one? Artificial underling. Right off the hop, that just tells me some sort of golem. And you know what I mean? Some dark secret. I think these guys have been doing some ritual in that cauldron. Was some disgust. It's like a pile of meat, elven meat, with no ears, of course. And it's just like the ritual was completed. Whatever they were trying to do, when I drove my sword through that guy, the blood splattered off the sword and dripped into the cauldron, and that was the thing. Let's get absolutely dramatic. A red lightning bolt just streaks down from the sky, crack-a-coom right into the cauldron, and the cauldron explodes. And that, you guys ever seen Stranger Things season 3? That's sort of what's in my head, of just like that meat. It kind of comes together. It's probably 10 feet. Let's not get so crazy. So this 10 feet abomination golem of death kind of emerges. Again, I'm just going to wrap it up with one other thing here. Before we even look at that, I'm really trying to make this hurt. We're going to do a pay the price move to see what else happens. To me, it could be, a lot of anything. So we'll roll our D100. We got a 50... Sorry, this is off camera. Apologize. 58, which brings us to... It causes a delay or puts you at a disadvantage. Well, it makes a lot of sense that, I guess the delay... The disadvantage, you know how I would rule that? Is as that cauldron explodes, knocking me back, probably killing the cultist, because screw that guy. He goes flying back. We'll do the typical, right? The head explodes in the pink mist. For me, myself, and Die fans. And my guy goes tumbling back, but that cauldron explosion, boom, goes back, and it from something that makes no sense through physics at all, wedges itself at that entry gate behind me. So even though I know there's 10 dudes behind me, they can't get in, or it's going to take them a lot of time to get in there. It's just me and this guy, plus whatever else is in this zone, right? This is our first room. And then the last thing I was going to do, let me just put this over here. I was going to look into these 3 icons and see if anything comes up, right? So we've got, it's actually kind of funny the way context works in these. To me, it looks like a potion. This looks like a dwarf, although it could be an evil dwarf, right? And maybe these cultists were dwarves the whole time, and that's, like, I just assumed men, right? But dwarves and elves are always fighting, so maybe they're dark dwarves. Sure, let's do that. So dark dwarves, they've been doing some sort of ritual, and then a fire. So maybe even what I would suggest too is when that cauldron exploded, embers and coals flung around, and some of the wooden tapestries around here start sparking and lighting up on fire. And let's just cap it off with one more sensory thing, because this is actually getting pretty cool. Let's cap it off with so there's 4 here, right? It's what do you hear, what do you see, what do you touch or feel, and what do you smell? I'm gonna say what touch, what's on me. What's on me from that? I'm assuming it's like meat and stuff, but a vicious stabbing pain. Hey, all right. So part of the cauldron's probably wedged. It didn't hurt me, but it went into the armor. And have you guys ever had like a let's say you step on a nail, you know how it goes through the boot, and like hopefully it doesn't go all the way in, but it's like a pinch. It's not enough to wound HP, but it's pain. Do you know what I'm saying? So anyway, I'm going to wrap it up right here. This is already like a 40-minute video, which is not what I intended, but I hope this shows you guys, like, whether or not you play Ironsworn, I highly recommend doing it. It's a lot of fun. But if you don't, honestly, this deck is insane. Like, I wish, I don't know about you guys, and I don't want to ramble on this too much. I have a problem doing that. But as I got into solo role playing, my collection started growing, and it's hard to not keep buying new things. There's always a hole in my collection, like, man, I need more sci-fi or whatever. And I should, total transparency, I did order I think like 3 more versions of this deck, the basic one and stuff. The main reason for that is I've gotten a lot more into Cypher system, and it is my what do you call that, a genre-less RPG. You can put whatever you want in there, and this stuff for Cypher system, I would highly recommend this deck over anything else, to be honest with you. But the more I use it, and these icons, I'm a visual person, I'm an artist for my day job and stuff, so icons spark things in my head. My whole job as a concept artist is to take things that don't make sense and or visual aids and cues, mash them together to try to come up with something. So I'm already primed to do this. So if you're an artistic person, or if you like looking at images that spark imagination, that might be a great tool for you as well. But these cards, I honestly, Mythic has been amazing. I love Ironsworn for everything it is. Obviously, I keep talking about it. If it was the Desert Island thing, I would always just take Court Ironsworn. You know, the Delve's got to be in there too because it's that good. But these things, I just wish I gave more time to, or just said, you know what, just use these because they do everything I need them to do. But I do want to roll dice with this. You know, this dice thing up here is great, but I definitely want to roll dice with this. I don't know if there's a last point I wanted to make with them. Yeah, no, I think I have it all covered. But anyway, thank you guys so much for your time. I hope the rambling wasn't too brutal for you. And if you have any comments or questions, please leave them in the comments below. I'll definitely respond to you. And I hope this tool helps you. I know it's been around for a while, but it's definitely helped me. Anyway, thanks, guys. Take care, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.